Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah Peternell. I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services in Denver, Colorado. I'm the creator of the 30-day online Hashimoto's nutrition program called Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. And you can find out more about this self-paced 30-day, very affordable Hashimoto's 101 program in the description down below. But today, I'm going to just give you my grocery list. I get this question a lot, like, what do I buy at the grocery store? And I also have a lot of people who ask me, do you really eat the way that you talk about in your videos? And of course, my answer is yes. But I am a human, so I do like some things that are maybe not so good for me. More about that in a little bit. What I want to share with you is what I call kind of my health supportive or anti-inflammatory or Mediterranean style Hashimoto's grocery list. I have basically created what I think for me and my family is the perfect grocery list. And so today I'm going to share with you what those items are. So thanks for tuning in. Now grab a pen and paper because you can't get this information anywhere else. This is not in a downloadable printable form yet, but maybe someday. But what I do want you to have is access to what categories and what foods I make sure to pick up every single time I go to the grocery store. So first of all, we need to talk about why, right? So I follow a gluten-free diet, 100%, 155 million %, and so do my two kids. I have celiac disease and they do not, but they are both gluten intolerant. Hint, my husband is also gluten intolerant, but he tries to pretend like he's not. So our whole family eats gluten-free at home. And this is not a problem because we eat really well. There are some great gluten-free alternatives out there, but really just eating as close to the way as Mother Nature intended has worked out pretty well for all of us. And yes, we still do get some treats. As I said, I'll talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. So what I want to share with you guys today is basically what is this sort of sustenance or the gist or the basis, the foundation, if you will, of all of our healthy grocery shopping trips. So we start with protein. And I'll be honest, I love plants and I eat a lot of them, but protein is essential in our family because I have autoimmune disease, I have Hashimoto's, and I have celiac disease. My husband is an athlete. He's a long distance cyclist. And he's a mountain biker, and he's kind of a maniac, and he's a weekend warrior. I, on the other hand, am trying to maintain healthy weight, have lean muscles, and we've got two majorly growing kids, both of whom play competitive sports, soccer, and my son Clay is a 13-year-old boy, and he is just hitting his stride with puberty. So protein is actually at the bottom of our food pyramid, if you will. So in order to have 1 to 2 servings per day, per person, of healthy protein options on hand, we need to buy a lot of animal protein at the grocery store. Now, usually a serving size is about 4 ounces. Sometimes it's a little bit more. But these are some of the items that we typically will pick up, and if we can't get them fresh, then we'll buy them frozen. And our health food store, Natural Grocers, where we shop a lot, has a lot of these foods in the freezer section. So I usually leave the grocery store every week, sometimes twice a week, with at least 2 cartons of pastured eggs. These are the expensive guys, right? Like $8 a carton. I know. When I first started doing this, I think my husband wanted to divorce me, kill me, something. He didn't understand how eggs are the best source of quality protein, really, for pennies on the dollar when you think about it, right? So for 1 egg, it's still less than $1 if you're buying even the most expensive eggs. Please forego those 99-cent styrofoam cartons of totally commercialized, horribly fed, and poorly treated chicken eggs that you can get sort of at your conventional grocery store. Now, I'm talking about the whole egg, not just the egg whites, not just the egg yolk, the whole egg. This is Mother Nature's perfect protein food and great for helping to support our bodies with that dietary source of cholesterol that we need for healthy brains, healthy hormone production, right? It's kind of like the grease on all of the wheels. Your body does need cholesterol, so don't be shy. There are days when my husband can easily eat 2 or 3 or 4 of these eggs post-workout, and let me tell you, he doesn't have high cholesterol. So these are really healthy sources of protein. Excuse me. Also, we usually come home with a couple of chickens. I like to buy the whole chickens because you can grill or bake, or we put it on our Traeger smoker, a whole chicken, and cook that and have meat for the whole week. My kids love the drumsticks. I like to cut up the chicken breast and add it to salads. And of course, I always like to save the bones for later on because I can turn that into bone broth. Sometimes we'll also get some turkey, and even we'll get some organic deli turkey because this does make great snacks and great sandwiches. And I love to do something like a basic turkey roll-up where you can just take some organic deli turkey meat and fill it with some cucumber slices or some sprouts or maybe some cut up radishes, and just roll it up inside the deli turkey slice. You can dip it in some hummus or some guacamole. It's a great snack, or it's a great lunch. We also buy a lot of wild salmon, and wild caught is very important because it's the highest source of those omega-3 fatty acids, and it doesn't have any funny business. Salmon that's been farm raised often has special dyes that's used in the meat to make it look extra pink. And so it can either be dyes that are in the food that the salmon is eating, or even treated after it's been processed. Yuck, no thank you. So wild caught fatty fish is always on our list, and usually salmon, at least once a week. Sometimes we also get halibut, excuse me, or we'll get mackerel. These are other fatty fish that cook up really nicely. They have a nice mild flavor, and they're loaded with those healthy fats. I also personally like a canned fish from time to time. So I get the very conscientious, low mercury, pole-caught canned tuna and or sardines to have with my lunches. Nothing is better than taking some of that canned tuna out and adding just a little bit of organic mayonnaise or a mashed up avocado and having it on some toast or with some gluten-free almond flour crackers. That just hits the spot. We will also buy plenty of grass-fed beef and bison, probably for our family of 4, about 2 to 3 pounds per week of red meat. Yes, I know that can seem like a lot, but let me tell you that if you are purchasing from good ranchers who are practicing regenerative ranching practices, meaning that they practice good animal husbandry, good care of the land, good ecological practices, and biodiversity within the environment, not only is it good for the earth, but it's also very, very good for the animal. And in turn, when we eat grass-fed beef from this source, right, we are getting all of the nutrition that the animal gets from their time spent on pasture. So this is a big part of the protein that's helping to feed our family and help that our kids are growing strong and doing their very best at their sports and activities. I do make my own bone broth, but from time to time I also will pick up, my favorite really is like the Kettle and Fire or some of the local brands, just to have an extra hand for if I want to make a soup or I want to braise vegetables or maybe cook brown rice or quinoa or other gluten-free grains in the bone broth, sometimes mixed with a little bit of water. It just adds a lot of flavor, and it adds those essential amino acids and minerals directly to your cooked grains. So it just kind of boosts up the nutrition of whatever you're cooking. So that's basically some insight into the type of proteins that we're buying every week. And it does add up, but you know what? I would rather spend the money on these high quality animal products than on any of the interior aisles and all of the junk food, processed food, packaged food that is also available, right? You can spend a lot of money. It can add up on things like Doritos and Pepsis and chocolate bars and other kinds of junk food, when you could instead be spending the money on such high quality, really nutrient dense, great foods. So the protein piece is really the foundation, as I said, of our family's food pyramid. Next are the plants, fruits and vegetables. Since we all try to eat a minimum of 5 servings per day of fruits and vegetables combined, me usually more than everybody else, but the kids, they're doing pretty good too. We have to buy a lot of produce. And in fact, I keep a giant fruit tower on my kitchen counter, and I fill it up 2 or 3 times a week. And the kids always know that they can grab a clementine, or they can grab a banana, they can cut up a kiwi, they can have fresh strawberries or cherries or whatever is in season. So the fruit tower is a pretty important part of our family, and stocking up at the grocery store or at the farmer's market is a really important part of our grocery shopping. I try to choose organic as much as possible because I want to avoid pesticides and herbicides and any toxic chemicals, but also I want to choose what's in season and about as local as possible. So if it's coming from the farmer's market, like some maybe Palisade peaches or some Western Slope cherries, or maybe even just, some local produce that's been grown just a few miles from here, in the kind of northwestern farming land that is just outside of Denver, we can usually find some really great stuff. So right now what we have at home, we have some apricots, we have lots of berries and cherries. I actually always keep lemons and limes on hand. To me, those just always feel seasonal because I use them in my water. I use them for cooking. I use a lot of the lemon rind to season even fish or poultry, even vegetables. And we also have a lot of delicious plums because that's what's in season right now for summer. As far as vegetable goes, well, I usually have at least 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 different leafy greens in my refrigerator. Right now, I'm pretty sure I've got some dinosaur kale, I've got baby lettuces, I've got sprouts, I have arugula, I've got romaine lettuce for sandwiches. Honestly, I can just never have enough leafy greens. And the great thing I've found about leafy greens is that the kids like them too. They're easy to slide into sandwiches. They go great in smoothies. They're a great addition on top of a grass-fed burger, or, maybe inside of like a grilled cheese with some tomato. You can pretty much add greens anywhere, everywhere, all the time, and they're mild. All right, arugula is not mild, but they're mild and they're pretty easy to incorporate into your family's nutrition. Other vegetables, especially right now, what's in season, we definitely have some of the kind of lighter vegetables, like some cucumbers. As I said, we've got, kale. Also, I've bought a lot of radishes lately. Just from the farmer's market, I picked up some fresh tomatoes and also some snow peas. And I'll kind of be watching to see what's rotating through the farmer's market. But I do also have to supplement vegetables, even in the summertime, at the grocery store, because I want to make sure I'm getting plenty of onions and garlic and things like broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and a lot of the cruciferous vegetables, which are powerhouse detoxifiers. So this is really the second layer of our family's food pyramid in our shopping list. So after proteins, high quality animal proteins, high quality organic, local, in season fruits and vegetables are next on the list. All right, so what comes next? Well, definitely you have to stock up on what you need to consider as the healthy servings of fats that you want to have on hand. So I double check to make sure, that we've always got the right types of cooking oils. And when I do need to stock up at the grocery store, usually this is going to come in the form of some Kerrygold Irish butter. I love its bright yellow color. It has great flavor. It's really, really high in omega-3s, and it is a great saturated fat for cooking at high temperature. So for like frying eggs, or if you need to brown, say, a pork shoulder before it goes on the smoker in the crock pot, using a saturated fat is definitely the way to go. But we also use lard. I know my grandma and grandpa used to use lard, and I remember thinking that was kind of weird, but now I know why. They were so smart with their understanding of fats and saturated fats, like from bacon grease, lard, right? You kind of want to make sure you're using a high quality stuff, but we'll save this fat, right? If I make bacon, I'll use the fat later to cook Brussels sprouts, or maybe I'll use it later to braise some beets in the oven. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with it, but now you can just buy jars of lard, and a little goes such a long way. I keep it in the refrigerator so that it stays fresh, and it's just such a great addition for high temperature cooking. As far as some of the more mild oils, and especially those that maybe you don't want to use for cooking, definitely an extra virgin organic olive oil. I have some of my favorite brands right now. I'm loving the Cassandrios, which is from Greece. It is so grassy and green and herbal and flavorful, and I just absolutely love it with summer vegetables. But I also will have kind of a more standard organic olive oil for just like a light saute. So sometimes you just want to saute maybe like some tomatoes or butter beans, or maybe I love to saute green beans, right? So you just want to use a really like kind of basic olive oil. It doesn't have to be extra virgin olive oil, but one that can withstand like a medium temperature heat. So those are almost always on hand, and I also use a lot of coconut oil as a saturated fat. I find that lately the kids aren't loving coconut on everything because I tend to use coconut milk also in a lot of my cooking, and then to also add in the coconut oil. Plus sometimes I even have like coconut sprinkles and some other sources. I'm trying to like back off on the coconut a little bit, but this is a great addition, again, for higher temperature cooking because it's saturated fat, but it's great for just like an all vegetable stir fry. So if I just want to do something that's kind of like Asian inspired or Thai flavors, I'm going to go coconut oil all the way. It gives a great flavor on the veggies. I can use it in my wok at a higher temperature, and it gets that nice kind of crispness and that amazing caramelization on vegetables. These oils that I'm going to talk about next, they need to stay in the fridge, okay? So if you're going to do things like a walnut oil, maybe for its flavor, it makes great salad dressing, or sunflower seed oil, or if you're going to choose a flaxseed oil, these are condiment oils, and they are highly, highly, highly PUFA oils, right? Those polyunsaturated, meaning they're really, really unstable, and they need to be in a dark glass container, and they need to be kept in the refrigerator, and they need to be used quickly, and you never want to cook with them. So flaxseed oil, walnut oil, sometimes sunflower seed oil. I love to use these in dressings and in marinades after the food is cooked, right? So marinade after it's cooked, yeah, you can go ahead, you can steam green beans, or you can roast your vegetables and then put them in a marinade and then pop them in the fridge, and then they're great all week. They're so flavorful. Adding them onto salads, adding them to like a cooked brown rice, something like that, maybe that you've cooked with your bone broth, and now you've got like this really, really, really flavorful vegetable. So my dressings are usually an acid, one of these very unstable but very, very tasty oils. And what this contributes is a lot of the kind of omega-6, omega-9 oils that we do need in very small amounts. They help to kind of balance out that whole ratio of what you need in terms of your omega-3s, right, which we can get from the fish sources and a lot of our plant-based fats, but then also bringing in some of these oleic and linoleic fats, fatty acids, because they also really provide some of that cell health and cell membrane structure that we need. So you have to find the right balance in your oils, but you never want to cook with them. Did I say that yet? Never cook with those highly volatile oils. Other fats are going to include some avocados, plenty of those on the counter. Big jars of olives. I love those so much. And I've also been using avocado oil in quite a bit of the cooking as well because it can withstand the higher temperatures. All right, enough about fats. I'm going to move on because I could just talk about this stuff all day long. So let's get into what else is on our grocery list, because before you all think that I basically never eat anything outside of, the holistic nutritionist's playbook, you're wrong. I do. I love dark chocolate. I definitely have dark chocolate on my list quite frequently. We call these fun foods, right? They're not everyday foods. They're not even every other day foods. But dark chocolate, even honey flavored nut butters. I love the Justin's nut butters, and their hazelnut butter is to die for. We'll buy a lot of like raw organic cheeses. My gut can't handle that every day, but the kids love cheese. It's a great source of obviously that calcium, but it's a great source of other minerals, and it's a really good healthy fat. It's very satiating, right? So to put out a snack of like some salami and some raw cheese and some almond flour crackers or seed crackers, this is just kind of, the way that we like to provide snacks and have things available for those kids, especially when they get home after 3 or 4 hours of soccer. Handfuls of nuts, grain-free chips, Organic corn chips, definitely on the list. Salsa, absolutely. I've been using a lot of coconut chips and dried coconut, like I said. I also purchase a lot of dried fruit. I think that snacking on something like this, which I snacked on right before I made this video today, this is just organic dried mango. It comes in these little bags from Whole Foods, and they're in the basket in the pantry, and the kids can grab those whenever they want. It's way better than doing like gummy bears or gummy fruit snacks. Just get the dried mango, so much better. For sweeteners, we use raw local honey. We also use the high quality grade A maple syrup. From time to time, we'll buy some ice cream treats, usually made with coconut milk or almond milk, mainly because that helps to kind of take down on some of the mucus production, right, that you can have with a lot of the ice cream products. You kind of know that like throat clearing problem that you might have after yogurt or ice cream or something like that. I prefer to do the coconut milk. And then obviously gluten-free, right? So any of the snacks and things that we have, beef jerky, salami, dips and spreads, we're really just checking to make sure on the labels that these are 100% gluten-free, reading the ingredient list, making sure there's no funny business in any of those. But we do have a lot of the kind of snacky and fun foods around because there's a lot of us in our household, and as I said, busy eaters. So these are the kinds of things that the kids can just grab and go, and they're, they can feed themselves. Bonus for mom and dad, right? All right, lastly, the the beverages that are in our house. I got a little ahead of myself. I do buy pressed vegetable juices because I don't always have time to juice my own. I have a Huron. I love it, but honestly, sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to clean it, and I love green juice. So I'll supplement my own juicing with some of the like Evolution Fresh or some of the other organic pressed green veggie juices. We do occasionally buy some of the organic apple and orange juices because those are a great way to put in other things like Inner Eco, which is a sparkling coconut water probiotic, and it's a little on the sour side. If you've tried it, you know I like sour. The kids, not so much. But we'll mix apple juice and Inner Eco, and that's the best way for them to get their probiotics, their fermented little happy, healthy bugs every single day. I do also buy kombucha. Sometimes we get kombucha on tap, and sometimes I make my own, but lately I just have not had time to do it. I do like to have sparkling water on hand. I really like a lot of the fruit flavored sparkling waters. We'll buy the Swiss water processed decaf coffee and some herbal teas and some organic coffee, nut milks like almond milk, and I try to stay away from the carrageenan. If you've watched some of my other videos about alcohol and caffeine, and if those are good for you if you have certain conditions like Hashimoto's, then you know that you have to really, again, go for the high quality, right? So good organic coffee, and it matters what you put into it. So if you're used to using a creamer and there's a lot of fillers and funny junk in those things, you got to downgrade, you got to upgrade and downplay some of those maybe not so good for you ingredients. So gosh, I had a lot to cover, and I'm sorry because I know it's kind of overwhelming, but maybe it's exciting to think about how you can upgrade and boost your own grocery shopping list for your family. Someday I'll get this ready for you as a fun, maybe free downloadable printable, so check back. And in the meantime, hopefully you took some good notes. Check out some of my other videos. Enjoy your farmer's market this summer. It is the season to get outside and see what's growing and what's going on in your local area. I'm Sarah Peternell. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you the best of health. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Bye.